slave DiBiase.
Yo, yeah. Let's go. Let's do a quick mic test. Yo. Okay, everything good. All right, y'all. Let's start this off right, big baby. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Depending on when you digest this content, I am your illustrious host, Slave DiBiase, and this is another live edition of the Offenders Initiative podcast. All my stoneheads, all my true offenders, man. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Light up. Share alike. It's another 420 sesh, y'all. Y'all know on Fridays what I do. We are watching what? Power Book for Force. That's what we on Fridays. You know what I'm talking about? What's going on? New comments will appear. Okay, yeah. Hi. Hey, Lay Glover. What's going on, Lay Glover? That's fire. Thank you for tuning in. Roll up. You feel me? Yeah. Power Book for Force, episode 2. How y'all feeling about it? Everybody that's seen it, man, let me know something. Let me know if you're following along with the Power Universe, if you're a fan of the Power Universe. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, before we get into this recap and breakdown and reaction and all that, thank you, Lay Glover. Thank you for the energy. Thank you for your support. Before we get into all of that, man, tell me what y'all smoking on in the comments, man. Today, again, I'm smoking on some more white runts from Mellow Fellow and a little bit of MK Ultra. We in there today. You feel me? We're gonna get nice and fried and check out this reaction and all of that. I wonder, did you guys peep where Tommy made the fatal mistake? I just want to know. Hold on. Tommy made a fatal mistake, and I'm gonna let you guys know when I saw the mistake. Tell me if you know when you saw the mistake. You know what I'm talking about? All right. Without further ado, y'all, let's get into it. Power Book 4, episode season 3, episode 2. Let's get to it. This is by way of Movie Bot. Again, don't forget to give them a like, comment, and subscribe. Light up and let's check it out.
Oh, it's your fault. Everything you do brings danger to our doorstep, Tommy.
Take that bass out your voice, Jay.
Now, in the streets of Chicago in episode 2, power isn't just taken, it's played like a game of chess. Every move has a price, every alliance comes with a hidden cost. And in episode 2, it was made pretty clear that war sometimes isn't really fought with bullets. It's fought with lies, loyalty, and leverage. Control is also starting to become a bit of an illusion in season 3. Vic is trapped, but has he managed to find a way to get out from under the thumb of Stacey Marks' control through leverage?
Remember, before we even get started, the last time we saw Vic, Tommy and Diamond pulled up on him on the last episode of the 3rd season, which is the 1st episode, and told him, bitch, we know you snitching. We got you. I should smack your motherfucking head off right now, but we gonna see what it is. You know what I'm talking about? So last we seen, Vic is in the motherfucking blender right now.
D-Mac also can't be controlled, and he's made yet another mistake. Claudia is also playing a very dangerous game. Jannard is walking the fine line between love and loyalty, and so is Shanti. And Tommy may just be on the brink of an all-out war, at a time where everybody is making moves behind his back. Everybody's trying to pull the strings in their direction, and as we all know, the balance of power can always shift. With that being said, that's the theme. So let's get straight into the breakdown of Power Book 4 Force, Season 3, Episode 2. Now, episode 2 kicks off with Tommy and Diamond drowning Vic and forcing him to work as a double agent. They confronted him at the end of episode 1, where Tommy told him that he now owns him. And it was said before season 2 what Tommy has planned for Vic would be a great reveal. That's why I didn't think it was ever just going to be as simple as them getting rid of a snitch. It's
Let's go back to this right here. What Tommy has planned for Vic is this gun right here, nigga. That's it. That's all a snitch ever gets in the Power universe. Let's not even think no two ways about it. A bullet is coming his way, one way or another. Snitches never live in the Power universe. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. It says, Gary Lennon says, the answer to the question of what Tommy is planning for Vic is a great reveal. We wanted to really portray Tommy as getting smarter with his moves as he moves up in the criminal world, and he has some new tricks up his sleeve. Now, me personally, from the stuff that I've seen in this episode, he's still moving a lot like Ghost. But, you know, y'all tell me in the comments if y'all feel the same way.
and for Vic would be a great reveal. That's why I didn't think it was ever just going to be as simple as them getting rid of a snitch. It sounded as if they had a bigger plan for his character, and I still do think there's a lot more to come as well. Gary Lennon has teased he can still avoid what seems to be his destiny, which is death, and we will come to that a bit later on in the breakdown. But as Diamond drowned him, he finally cracked and agreed to work for them. Tommy told him that he was going to be his inside man within law enforcement. He's going to find out everything that he can, and also feed Stacey Marks with what he wants her to know as well, which he did do a bit later on with Roberto Ortega being put into solitary confinement. Now, this was Tommy using his brain and finding a way to use Vic Flynn to his advantage. Back in Power, he wanted to kill Cooper Sacks, but Ghost was always against the idea of killing a cop, but also because they could use him.
Man, you might be against the idea of killing a cop, but one thing I know I've seen in the Power universe, I've even seen in the Sons of Anarchy universe, if you's a fucking fed rat bitch and you do too much, you gotta go. So don't act like it can't happen.
They could control him, and that was Tommy's plan here. He also threatened Beth, most likely because he has people watching Vic, and we know Vic went to go see her towards the end of episode 1. But what Tommy doesn't know is he left Beth an envelope that could probably blow everything up. That is something we definitely have to keep in mind.
That envelope gonna get Beth killed too. Tommy threatened to kill Beth to Vic in the beginning of the episode, basically telling him like, look, I ain't into it, but I will kill that lady because I know you got links with her. She's supposed to be your family. He said, ain't no Flynn an innocent person. Me personally, after I get done with Vic, I go on him and brush her off the map too.
Now, the first job they had for Vic was to pay his sister a visit. Tell Claudia that the CBI wanted the Viagra Triangle. Tommy knew that Claudia had something to do with the Marquez cartel coming after him and Shanti in episode 1. So he wanted to use Vic to mess with not just law enforcement, but also Claudia Flynn. He also mentioned Maria let it slip that Shay was also back in Mexico. So while he was in Mexico, Tommy wanted to create a demand and supply.
Question. Why didn't Vic Flynn leave town after he left Tommy and them? Wouldn't we have just left town after this part right here, after he says, you my bitch now, you're going to tell me everything I need to know. You're going to feed the feds the information I want them to know, and you're going to feed your sister the information I want her to know. Why didn't you just leave town after that? Again, this is Vic's second chance to leave town, and he didn't take it. They caught him right here in last episode, but I'm still leaving town after that. That's just me. But, you know, whatever.
Most likely because he has people watching Vic, and we know Vic went to go see her towards the end of episode 1. But what Tommy doesn't know is he left Beth an envelope that could probably blow everything up. That is something we definitely have to keep in mind. Now, the first job they had for Vic was to pay his sister a visit. Tell Claudia that the CBI wanted the Viagra Triangle. Tommy knew that Claudia had something to do with the Marquez cartel coming after him and Shanti in episode 1.
I ain't gonna lie. Again,
so he wanted to use
Shanti held her own in episode 1 when the Marquez cartel spun on Tommy and her. She held it down, but she's still not to be trusted. And I'm sure Tommy knows he still needs to have his back. But just the fact that she didn't get in there and act like no scared little bitch, she really was laying shit down. She was scraping shit. I was fucking with it.
Vic to mess with not just law enforcement, but also Claudia Flynn. You also mentioned Maria let it slip that Shay was also back in Mexico. So while he was in Mexico, Tommy wanted to create a demand and supply problem to get the Albanians on board, just like they did with Vladimir and the Serbs back in Power. He wanted to hit Miguel Garcia's warehouse and shipment, and Diamond came up with the idea to burn the place to the ground, which again, Tommy is all too familiar with. It was something that happened to him back in Power when Dre and Cristobal burned down his warehouse. So we saw them slip in, spread gasoline everywhere, cut the lights, and light the place up. And all they needed now was wait for the Albanians' call. which did come a bit.
First of all, Diamond go look back and mess up the slow motion, walk away as the buildings exploding shot. Like, nigga, stop looking back, man. You fucking with my shot. I'd have said that if I was Tommy. Stop, turn around, man. We supposed to be walking off in slow motion as the building burns down. You fucking up the shot.
Later on, Peter, who refused their offer in episode 1, hit Tommy and Diamond up. And even though yesterday's price wasn't today's price, they were able to come to a deal. So now the CBI have the Albanians, who used to get their product from Markovic, and the Serbians, and their coalition and customer base just keeps on expanding. Something else to remember and keep in mind, Tommy did mention that he had the Italians on lock in episode 1 as well. We haven't been introduced to them just yet, but they probably are saving that for a bit later on. Now Miguel isn't stupid, he knows it was Tommy that torched his warehouse, and we did see him confront Tommy.
Hold on, you heard what bro just said? Let's back that up a little bit. Movie Bobby getting in there, hold up.
Who used to get their product from Markovic and the Serbians, and their coalition and customer base just keeps on expanding. Something else to remember and keep in mind, Tommy did mention that he had the Italians on lock in episode 1 as well. We haven't
Tommy mentioned that they had the Italians on lock as well. When they bring back Tommy and Tariq for their crossover present time Power Legacy spinoff, when they bring them back together, I think the Italians are going to be the big bad of that show. Tariq and Tommy both got beef with the Italians. That, like, if you've been watching Power since Power been on, you know what I'm talking about. They got Tariq set up Proctor to get killed by Tommy. I'm sure his daughter's going to find out about that later down the road. And if she comes up in the family and she ends up being somebody, she could be a problem for the two of them, no matter where they are. The Italian mafia is everywhere.
been introduced to them just yet, but they probably are saving that for a bit later on. Now Miguel isn't stupid, he knows it was Tommy that torched his warehouse, and we did see him confront Tommy about it a bit later on. The problem is, he just can't prove it, and he can't exactly go and cry about it to Shay either. With Shay also in Mexico, this is about to turn into a bit of a boxing match.
Hold on. So Tommy and Diamond torch his warehouse or whatever. He pulled up on Tommy like, Tommy, you motherfucker, you motherfucker, shame. That motherfucker was pissed off. Pulled up on Tommy. Tommy's like, man, you don't get the fuck out of my face. I don't know nothing about your little motherfucking warehouse catching on fire. Better have some fire insurance, motherfucker. That's what he told him. They should just go ahead and box it out. It's gonna get a whole lot worse before it gets any better between the two of them. I'm telling you right now. And the sister is the one caught in the middle, who I have an early prediction. She's probably gonna die, but I just don't know by who.
And he can't exactly go and cry about it to Shay either. With Shay also in Mexico, this is about to turn into a bit of a boxing match, because just like the war between the Marquez cartel and the CBI, there is no way Miguel just rolls over and lets Tommy mess with his product and organization. Tommy's just taken a big meal off his table. And let's remember, Tommy may have made Maria that promise that he wouldn't kill Miguel. And Tommy is someone who will definitely keep that promise, but he never said anything about not taking food off his table.
That's a
now,
fact.
from Miguel's point of view,
I ain't got to kill you physically. I could just kill your pockets. I'm still keeping my promise to your sister. And then on top of that, Tommy ain't got to be the one to take Miguel out. He could pay somebody else to do it. Kind of like what we're about to see here.
we know he still wants to take Tommy off the map, but he can't make it look like it's a hit from the Insane Princes. So later on, Miguel calls in the biggest hitter in the city, Mohit. And of course, the target is Tommy Egan. Now we know how this story goes. You bring in some outside hitters. The Four Horsemen as an example sounded scary back in season 1. Ooh, the Four Horsemen.
And got their ass mollywopped. They came into Chicago and got kicked right the fuck back out. They sent them fuckers to hell where they fucking came from. Anytime you hire these out-of-town hitters, these hitmen in the Power universe, they, whether it be an episode or two later, they always end up getting got. So that little assassin dude, more than likely Tommy gonna take his head off. And that's when he gonna figure out that Miguel actually sent somebody to kill me. Now this is different. Now I can step on shit because he pressed the button. I know in the back of his brain that he's telling himself, I'm not gonna hurt my girl's brother, but if he does come at me, I'm gonna have to do what I gotta do. So, and then the hitters, why do all the hitters always end up talking too much and telling the target who was sent to them? That always happens in this universe too.
They strolled into Chicago like they were about to cause an absolute bloodbath, but Tommy dealt with them one after the other and made them look like amateurs. So let's see how well Mohit fares and if it's the same story as before, which I think we all know it probably will be. Now, Tommy and Diamond did also put another move into motion at the beginning of episode 2 as well. That was have Vic go and see Claudia Flynn. They've been teasing blood is thicker than water in a lot of recent interviews that the cast and crew have been doing. Shanti also said blood is thicker than water when she was having this conversation with Jannard. That was in reference to his relationship with Diamond. But with Vic and...
Hold on, no. We need to get back. If this ain't the most reptilian creature of the night I've ever seen. 1 minute is I'm not letting nobody destroy what I've built. Then it's I care about you. She's talking to Jannard now. Then it's I care about you and our relationship, and I want you to stay off of drugs. You know, boy got a little dope problem. You know what I'm saying? He got a little problem. He's a substance abuser. You know what I'm talking about? So she's telling him it's either the drugs or me. But at the same time, how could you tell that man you care about him, but you want him to kill his own brother? And Jannard weird for hanging around somebody like you could not fuck with your family, but you want me to kill you? You want me to take my brother out? This storyline between her secret hate, trying to get to the top, bringing Jannard up under her titty and having him all pussy whip, you know what I'm saying? And then Diamond, it's not going to end well for somebody. It's not going to end well for somebody. There's several things that can happen here. One, it could be time for him to execute Diamond getting killed. He turn around and be like, I'm not killing my brother, and then he kill her. Or two, she could call him a weakling, and she could pop him in his fucking helmet. Or she could mess around and kill Diamond herself. Even though I think early prediction with Diamond, he probably going back to jail, the place that he don't want to be.
When she was having this conversation with Jannard, that was in reference to his relationship with Diamond. But with Vic and Claudia, they do have a long-standing history of betrayal, which all started when Claudia decided not to tell Vic that the hit on Walter Flynn from Dublin had been moved up. That then made Vic make the decision to go to Stacey Marks. So there definitely is a lot of history and a lot of bad blood here between the two. But Vic was here to tell Claudia that Tommy and the CBI were taking the Viagra triangle, and she was going to make it happen. At this moment in time, Claudia had no choice. She was stuck, especially because she knows Tommy can get to her in jail as much as the Marquez cartel.
So basically all those clubs where her and the hooker she had working for her was selling drugs and all of that. Basically, Tommy took the spot over, and she ain't got no choice but to rock with it, or she gonna get killed in jail because she can get touched. You saw she got shivved in the last season. She got poked up in the last season, left to bleed out.
Now, sticking with law enforcement and this whole investigation, the task force did reveal that the bug that they had planted in Tommy's apartment back in season 2 is now dead. That's probably because once Tommy found out Vic was a snitch, he would have had his apartment cleaned. They also confirmed the poison that killed Merkovich in episode 1 for anybody who was wondering.
Either that or he made Vic tell him what the damn bugs in his apartment was.
Because there were a few questions in the comment section around what actually killed Merkovich. It was fentanyl. But this moment right here is what I believe will flip the script and the power between Stacey Marks and Vic Flynn. She just got served divorce papers from Bobby DeFranco.
This masculine creature of the night right here that talked to everybody like she don't owe them an ounce of respect. Her husband, well, soon to be ex-husband, was like, bitch, I ain't going. You ain't finna talk to me like that no more. You care more about this job than you do about our fucking life together. So go ahead. I'm ready to sign them papers. Take these papers. Take these papers, you and that Bruce Leroy haircut you got, and get the hell on.
And we are going to come to the power shift a bit later on. First up, Claudia requested a meeting with Stacey Marks. Now, the last time Claudia and Stacey Marks met back in episode 1, Claudia refused to flip on the Marquez cartel because she knows it's a death wish and she's also in business with them. But flipping on Tommy Egan is something I knew Claudia would have no problem in doing. However, Stacey Marks mentioned that Tommy has been 3 moves ahead of Claudia this entire time. What makes her think that she can help bring down one of the biggest drug dealers in Chicago? She mentioned that she now has an in with him within the CBI.
Now, if y'all can remember, Stacey Marks is supposed to be running for mayor. She's supposed to be running for mayor. She does not have time. At least this is what her campaign folks is telling her. She does not have time to mess with little fish like Tommy Egan. Lady, let it go. But after she got hit with them divorce papers from old Bobby, and he said he wasn't with the bullshit, he said, look, check this out. Because early in the episode, her campaign lady was like, is there anything in your past or in your husband's past that could fuck us? You know what I'm saying? That mess us up or whatever. And she's like, no, lying. No, nothing's wrong. Knowing she done got served some papers in front of everybody in the office. You know what I'm saying? Like she didn't just get served some papers. So, of course, in order to make all this look good, she got to go back and get with her husband. So it makes her look like she's an all-around good person. She's well-rounded and all of that. Which I'm thinking he's probably going to pick up on. Yeah.
He can help bring down one of the biggest drug dealers in Chicago. She mentioned that she now has an in with him within the CBI, which now happens to be Elise. And think about what it would do for her career bringing down one of the biggest players in the city. Tommy made both of them look like fools back in season 2 and got away scot-free. But Stacey Marks did leave her with a stern warning. If she doesn't come through, she will make her life living hell. Now, Claudia did immediately get to work with getting an in with the CBI.
What's she gonna say that her miserable ass ain't got nothing to live for now? She about to get divorced. Her whole thing for mayor might be out the window. Let me get this one win to possibly secure that.
Which was through Elise. Claudia mentioned if she doesn't help, then they will kill her. She gave Elise no choice but to work with the CBI and let them run their product through Viagra Triangle. Now, I do understand Claudia is desperate, and the only person she can lean on, count on, and trust is Elise. But I do think Claudia knew exactly what she was doing here. She can be very persuasive, manipulative, and she...
What's funny is, right, Elise done told, and I don't think nobody noticed it, Elise done told Claudia she loved her for about going on all the last 2 episodes of the last season and a couple times this season. Claudia ain't never told that girl I love you back. That shit funny as hell, boy.
Does have a way of using people to get what she wants. No doubt she does love Elise, but I do think there was a bit of manipulation involved as well.
No, she don't. She don't love that girl. Elise gonna get killed.
That being said, involving Elise in this world, it really isn't going to end well. She later came to see Shanti, who laid out the deal. Elise wanted to run things on her own, and Shanti's response was, no problem, do your thing. But when you mess this up, which you definitely will, you know where to find me. That's because Shanti knows she's not built for this world. Lo and behold, a bit later on, when Elise's girls were shifting some product at her club, Destiny was skimming off the top.
Destiny told the dude that she was in front of, she said, hey, bitch, it's $250. He said, you just charged my partner $150. What you trying to do? So a girl was banking all night. And she was going to hoe Elise for the money. So Elise had to call in Big Body Bruiser.
Who was charging $250 instead of $150. Shanti then came in to shut that shit down straight away and warned Elise that this was exactly going to happen because she was just like Claudia. Both of them are very inexperienced in this game and in this world. It's not for the faint-hearted. There is also a very small teaser that we've seen in the season trailer where Elise is crying to Claudia where she says Tommy is a psychopath.
God, he's a fucking psychopath. I have one more card.
She just simply...
You don't involve nobody like Elise in your business, bro. She get caught, she gonna tell on everybody. You don't involve nobody like that in there. Just look at, she look like if she get caught, she gonna tell on everybody.
Isn't built for this world, and she's going to end up being collateral damage. Claudia's going to end up losing the one person who she has in a corner that she can trust, and it's going to be her fault. But let's move on and talk about D-Mac's journey and where we are with his character in episode 2. Now, towards the end of episode 1, we know he was picked up.
D-Mac might be, you know how we used to get upset with Tariq in the original Power, how we used to get upset with him? I'm upset with D-Mac like that. Like, he really might be the stupidest motherfucker in America, bro. Like, just and I don't know what's worse, him or his homeboy Marshall that he stay with. Like, they both, but no, D-Mac is really dumb, bro. Seriously. And to be honest with you, I was all for everything being everything last week, but now I'm with Jannard and Diamond, man. Get him out of here. He is a whole problem. Get D-Mac, take D-Mac off the board. I'm with Jannard and Diamond on this one. Kill D-Mac.
By Jannard. But in the conversation with Shanti, he did mention all he did was give him a big brother talk, a pep talk. He put a little money in his pocket and sent him on his way. Marshall also told him he's been moving reckless, which you honestly can't argue with. He's killed a cop, killed Mad Dog. He just got shot himself as well. but he just keeps on choosing this life. Now, this was interrupted by Tommy, who told Marshall that he used to be just like him, willing to stand in the line of fire for his brother no matter what. And we as the audience definitely know that to be true. We saw it in Power, and hopefully it's something we see in Power Origins as well, which no doubt we will. But he finds D-Mac in the cupboard and
You got to let him finish that. He said, I remember when I was young, just like you, and I used to be in the line of fire, willing to lie, cheat, and steal from my brother. He said, I'm going to let you know it don't always end well.
we can count on and trust at this moment for the CBI. Another crazy mistake. Just don't listen. I think he probably might do this conversation, and no doubt we will. But he finds D-Mac in the cupboard and tells him, if he doesn't want to go back to that school, then fine, go get a job. For as long as Tommy was in the CBI, he was out. Now, at times, Tommy can be very scary. We've seen what he's done with Tariq before when he held him off a roof, and during this conversation and this scene with D-Mac, when he made a motion just to hold D-Mac, we saw D-Mac flinch. But this tough love from Tommy, he was only doing it for D-Mac's own good. He doesn't want to do what he did with Tariq, but I do think he probably might just have to with what D-Mac did next. This is the thing I was worried about when it came to D-Mac, which is what we spoke about earlier in the week. Kids are going to be kids, and we've seen the script before when it came to Tariq in Power and also Kanan in Raising Kanan. They just don't listen.
This might be different. Tariq got off kind of easy with. He ended up living. D-Mac might not be so lucky. Or some shit that he do might get JP killed. I can see that happening.
They think they know it all, they think they know better, but the only time they'll actually begin to learn is when they face real consequences. That's when they lose someone because of their actions. And that's what I think D-Mac probably needs before he learns his lesson. Now, up next, what he did with Marshall was a crazy mistake. We saw them raid a Chinese gambling spot. Marshall wasn't on the lick with him. He pistol whipped him in the stomach with...
Okay, let me talk about this part right here. Let me talk about this part right here. D-Mac tells Marshall after Tommy leaves, after he tells him, look, you ain't gonna never be in CBI as long as I'm in CBI. This one here with the bright idea to rob a gambling spot. Marshall, the youngest person in the fucking gambling spot, he chilling, he got his little bread, he at the table, he fly. He looked like he's supposed to be there. All of a sudden, this one here kicks in the dough, holds up the gambling spot, gun busts him upside his head. You know what I'm saying? They do the little acting to make it look like it's an actual robbery. Here's where you missed me at. You had Marshall throw all the money and everything that was on the table, including the key of fentanyl, into the bag, and then told him, you meet me outside right now. You coming with me. Why not leave him in there to make it look like a real robbery, and then you just leave afterwards? So now whoever they rob, because we don't know, is now looking for the both of them. So now you got a cop, two bodies, a cop's body, King Kilo nephew, and now you just robbed the gambling spot of, I'm sure, some prominent gangsters in the city. This kid is something crazy. Just dumber than a fish with titties. Sorry.
Which he wasn't too happy about, but they didn't just score big. They robbed a brick of fentanyl worth 20 grand, which isn't something anybody would let slide. They're definitely going to be back for this product, that's for sure. And that's going to be a big problem, not just for D-Mac, but also for Tommy and also for the CBI. Another mistake was bragging about this hit to Jannard. That was a huge mistake. He told Jannard who they scored this from. That was the Chinese who run a gambling operation every month. Now, if Jannard really wanted to get rid of D-Mac, he could easily tell Diamond, this is what...
It's another thing. He always telling everybody his moves and all that, man. He talk too much. You in the streets. And that ain't your partner, man. Like, stop telling him everything you doing. He don't even notice, but he about to get taken off the board.
D-Mac's done. Feed the information to the Chinese, give them D-Mac's details, and boom, their hands are clean. They get rid of the D-Mac problem through the Chinese, and nothing falls back on them. So that's just something to keep in mind. If I were in Jannard and Diamond's shoes, that's exactly how I would make the move on D-Mac and keep my hands clean. So definitely something to keep in mind. We definitely haven't seen the last of the Chinese. I'm sure they definitely will be back. But will Jannard use this to his advantage before Tommy's able to clean this mess up for D-Mac? That's the question going forward. Now, we did also see D-Mac coming to see Genesis. She was mad because D-Mac disappeared and he wouldn't text back or answer any of...
This fool pulled up on her on a bike. He fresh, got new clothes now, all from this lick he just hit, right? So you done took the money and you done spent it immediately all to impress some girl. As a matter of fact, he was telling his partner Marshall when they was breaking up the money, he said, yeah, I'm about to get me some wheels, and then I'm about to pull up on my girl Genesis. He said, nigga, yo, girl. He said, that girl ain't your girl, fool. He said, no, yeah. He said, bro, Shawty don't even be texting you back like that for us. Like, you really about to crash out and destroy your whole uncle's organization behind you trying to stunt for her? And then she told him in this scene right here to his face, I got other niggas on my line. How dare this young creature of the night speak to you like that? You out here risking your life and fucking up your blood ties to go stunt for her. Nasty work. He gonna lose something. He gonna have to learn a real harsh life lesson. I can't wait to see it.
Of a cause, but he did buy her a little gift for when she goes to Spelman, same college that Aisha actually went to in Raising Canaan. She seems like she's got dreams and aspirations to move forward with her education, but honestly, this just has heartbreak written all over it. Just like I mentioned before, the only way D-Mac will learn is when his actions have some real consequences. Just like Kanan.
She might be kicking it with him and she mess around and get clipped because she looked like she got a future. I'm telling you, everybody in the Power universe that looks like they good and have a future, they either end up on the run somewhere or they end up getting clipped because they shouldn't have been hanging around one of these nasty characters. None of these people from the underworld that they're dealing with.
Lost D-Wiz, Famous, and also Crystal. The three characters to watch for D-Mac are JP, Genesis, and also Marshall. But let's move over to Janard and Shanti. Now, since season 2, Shanti has been slowly plotting against Tommy and Diamond. She has Janard right where she wants him. They're working within the CBI. They've manipulated a few situations, which didn't play out how they thought, but their end goal still remains the same. In episode 1, she was still talking about taking Diamond off the map, and her next plan is for Janard to spend some more time with Diamond, manipulate him, find out when their next meeting is with Shay. But over the past season or so, I do keep making references to his facial reaction and demeanor whenever Shanti brings up the topic of getting rid of Diamond. Later on, she also said it herself.
She told him the next time they have a big meeting with the plug, you need to be in the room somehow, some way. Make it happen. When I tell you this motherfucker is calling all plays, nigga. She playing the pocket for real, for real. She is calling all plays. You go long, I got you. She is called. That boy don't even see what's happening to him. And for him to, I can't believe that he was the one running CBI for 15 years while his brother was locked up. If he's this easily influenced by Shanti, who's really just trying to put herself on at the end of the day. How's she gonna say little slick stuff like, I guess I did bet on the right brother? What? Hooker say what? You don't get to say that to me.
Blood is thicker than water. And I do eventually think Janard will realize that. Blood is thicker than water. That means he has to pick Diamond over Shanti. Now, Chris Lofton was also on the Breakfast Club earlier this week, and he did mention that he always tried to subconsciously play Janard's relationship to the point. He could possibly kill Shanti if he has to. He played the character and kept that open just in case because he didn't know where they were going. So I do think they're building up this relationship between Janard and Shanti having dinner, them getting closer. Shanti showing that she really cares for him, making sure that he's not back on the needle. Shanti believing that she's picked the right brother, but only to leave it open for us to just have that seed of doubt.
He gonna end up having to kill that bitch, or she might see some weakness in him and end up killing him in order to enact her plan to keep going to the top. Remember, the show is called Power.
Not go through with her plan. Could you not kill Shanti instead of Diamond? When it comes to crunch time, will he realize blood is thicker than water, and that means picking Diamond over Shanti? So I'm just going to leave you guys with that question as we move over to Tommy, Maria, and the Marquez cartel. Now, as Tommy spends time with Maria, Tommy's reminded that he needs to keep his head on a swivel because the Marquez cartel are still after him. Bones got hit in the process of this drive-by. Luckily, Maria is a nurse who was on hand, who isn't really fazed by this life. She's done this before when she had to patch up Tommy in season 2, as I'm sure she's probably...
And that's how I know she finna die. She not phased. Everything's cool. My boyfriend's a gangster. He beefing with my brother. I'm living my very own 1992 hood VHS hood story. I hate it. She gonna get caught in the middle because she has a future. I've always wanted to go to Barcelona. She's a nurse. You know, it just doesn't match up. Good things do not happen for people in this universe. I'm sorry, it just don't happen.
Probably had to help Miguel and many of his soldiers as well. She's really someone that Tommy can count on and trust at this moment in time, and even pushing the boundaries in terms of stealing some pills from the hospital for Bones. And when I was watching this, something that actually stood out for me was
Now she risking her job. She done stole some painkillers to give to the henchmen that got shot while they were being watched on their little daily outing or whatever. Now you stealing from your job. Come on, man. I'd have told her don't do that no more. Don't steal from your job no more. Don't do that.
something that Angela actually said back in Power.
When you really love a guy, you stand by him, no matter what he's done.
When you really love someone, you're willing to do anything. That was a foreshadow for what Angela would eventually do for Ghost, but also in this particular situation as well. Maria seems to be willing to do anything for Tommy, but they instantly ruled out this hit being from Miguel Garcia. They saw the tattoos, they know it was a Marquez cartel hit. Even though Miguel wants Tommy dead, as we went through earlier on, there is no way he would put Maria in danger of being caught in the crossfire. He then told Jannard to go and find the shooters and also sit on the Serbian's warehouse, which Jannard really wasn't happy with. And throughout episode 2, not just this scene here,
Jannard don't like the fact that for Tommy's in charge of CBI. Tommy is in charge of CBI and he don't like it. Why you keep letting white boy run you? He keeps saying that. Why you keep letting him call all these shots? What's our future looking like? Why is he around? Do we need him? These are dangerous questions you're asking for it to be a partnership, right?
they were slowly building the tension between them. Again, it is something Chris Lofton did speak about in the Breakfast Club interview. They definitely are starting to light the fireworks. Now, on the Marquez cartel, he did actually come up with a very clever plan on how to use his inside man in Vic Flynn. Feed Stacey Marks some false information that Tommy was about to target Roberto Ortega. Now, with Stacey Marks, we know how ambitious she is and how career-driven she is. She was given the opportunity to run for mayor backed by the DNC, but she was warned that this office would be doing some strict vetting. So if there was anything that they needed to know, it's probably best to be open about it now, so there's no surprises later. Now, she didn't tell them that her and Bobby were going through a divorce, or at least at the beginning stages, which will most likely come back to haunt her a bit later on.
Yep.
We know in politics that image is everything, and hiding this isn't a great start. But this is where Vic gets to work on Tommy's plan after he took a liking to Ray, who I'm going to come to in just a moment. He told Stacey Marks about Tommy's plan to hit Ortega next, and she knew she couldn't risk another death on her watch involving her case. She needs convictions, not deaths. And so she put Roberto Ortega in solitary confinement. So Tommy's plan worked, but Tommy wanted to know more. He wanted to know how he could really get to Stacey Marks on a personal.
Where do y'all see this ending with Vic? Anybody that keeps up with the show, just with how he is just super duper playing the middle, how y'all seeing everything. Where do y'all see this ending for Vic? Tell me in the comments.
Level. Information is power, which is where Vic tells Tommy that he did overhear that she was running for mayor. Again, information and influence is power, as we know from our time from OG Power. Those involved in politics, if you can have a stranglehold over them, that is some real power and also some leverage. Now, speaking of strangleholds and leverage, Beth could see straight through what Vic was going through. Straight away, she said someone has their foot on his neck. Now, she may just be Uncle Paulie's wife, but she did mention that this life has been very tough. But that's also how she knows how to survive. Very similar to something Aunt Dolores once said to Elisa Marie back in Power. She then gives Vic a light bulb moment. If you have two boots on your neck, who's the most easiest one to take out? Who's the most easiest one to leverage? Who's the most weakest person? And that's what made Vic think, who's weaker between Tommy and Stacey Marks at this moment in time? Let's have a think about it for a second. The answer is Stacey Marks.
That's a fact. That's a fact. It's easier to spin Stacey Marks. He might even be able to even spin her to take care of some shit that he need taken care of. All he has to do is just feed her the right information.
She lost Markovich on her watch. Her case isn't as strong as she thinks. She doesn't have full control over Vic Flynn at this moment in time. Bobby already left her task force, and I do think some of the other agents may be questioning her as well. Detective Seng is definitely someone who questioned her a lot in season 2. But most importantly, she's now going through a divorce with Bobby DeFranco, all while putting up a front and trying to run for the mayor's office. And that last point is the most important. And that's the thing that means the most to Stacey Marks. She's a character who has a lot to lose. And that's who's the most easiest to take out. That's the one who's the most easiest to leverage. And she's the weakest at this moment in time because she has a lot to lose. especially when you consider this triangle between Tommy, Stacey Marks, and Vic Flynn. Gary Lennon mentioned there are multiple triangles at play in season 3, and this is one of them.
I wonder how Vic is gonna turn it over and get him basically play chess, not checkers against Stacey Mars, because all he has to do is lead her on to one situation that doesn't play out the right way and it gets her in trouble. She'll be needing his help before he needs hers. And honestly, he's been a CI for too long as well. Yeah, she's about to get herself into some shit, especially with the fact that he has the information that she's actually going through a divorce and running for mayor.
It is one will lose out in each triangle, and I do think where we are at this moment in time, I do think the loser will be Stacey Marks. Vic also did get straight to work on his plan later on. No doubt he does fancy Ray, but introducing himself as Jason Booker, I do think part of him will use Ray to maybe mess with Stacey Marks, getting into the mayor's office, maybe getting some information that he can feed back to Tommy. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it started to become a bit more complex with Vic also growing feelings for Ray. So let's see what Vic's next move is. I do think he's about to flip the script in a very big way. Now, on Diamond, we've got him in the...
If he's starting this new relationship with this Ray girl, that means it's a possibility we're going to see him later down the line. He doesn't make it out of this season, children. It's not happening. He's a snitch. He goes down. That's what happens.
barbershop, and we see the famous mirror shot that we so often see in the world of power. When you look in the mirror, there's no hiding from who you are. And ironically, they show Diamond after he killed his PO. This is who Diamond is. He might have been talking about not killing anyone when he got out of prison and doing things different, but this is who he is. He still wants blood and he still wants D-Mac gone. The problem with killing D-Mac, Jannard lets him know that if they hit him now, then Tommy will blow all this shit up.
Now, when they were sitting up there having that talk right there, Jannard actually did tell him some real shit. If you kill D-Mac right now, Tommy is going to destroy the coalition. Right now, we have bigger problems, like trying to get everybody together so that we can officially take over. He want Youngin off the table to keep the coalition going. But Jannard's telling him, think about it. I'm telling you the same thing you telling me. If we take him out too early, it burns the coalition. If we do take him out, it burns the coalition. If we don't take him out, it burns the coalition. So we got to play this the right way. Yeah, and Diamond not seeing the play here. Because if Tommy find out that you're trying to kill his nephew, it's going to be over. It's going to be over. He's going to burn all of Chicago now. I think that's what he's going to do anyway. As far as like the series finale, seeing as though this is the last season, he's going to be the only one walking away from all of this. I think everybody under him is going down.
The problem with killing D-Mac, Jannard lets him know that if they hit him now, then Tommy will blow all this shit up. Their Roland Deshay, their coalition, the RDs with King Kilo, everything they've built will be for nothing. But Diamond just won't let it go. He's made his mind up. Now, just circling back around to the Chinese gambling lick, if Jannard and Shanti didn't have their plan, maybe that's something I think Jay would have told Diamond. Look, this is how we can actually get rid of D-Mac and keep our hands clean. Give the Chinese the drop on D-Mac. Still something to definitely keep in mind. We haven't heard the last of it, that's for sure.
That's a
But
fact.
sticking with Jannard, there was a moment where he thought about what got him into a real mess in season 2. But I don't think he's actually a character that will relapse. We've seen other characters like Kate going back to her comfort drug, but I don't think that's going to happen with Jannard in season 3, in my personal opinion. Now, he did also find the shooter, and we saw Tommy and Diamond pay him a little visit. He spoke to Ortega, and while he was on the phone, he sent him a clear message by taking Mateo to the chop shop. Something we need to see Kanan teaching Tommy and Ghost in Power Origins.
And this is where I think Tommy made a mistake. He killed one of the Marquez cartel hitters. You don't fuck with the cartel. You just don't do it. You just don't do it.
It was Kanan who taught both of them how to hold a saw. But with the head of Mateo, a member of the Marquez cartel, he dropped this right in front of their coalition. He wanted to send a clear message. You don't come after the CBI and get away with it. It also reminded me of the time when they sent the body parts to each of their primeras earlier in season 1 of Power. They sent a message to them to make sure they fall in line. and also to try and put a stop to the hits to their organization. It worked in New York, it kept everybody in line, but it wasn't going to work here. Again, Chris Lofton did speak around this particular situation, not this particular scene, but just in general with how Tommy's come to Chicago, doing things the New York way. And it did cause some tension within his coalition. The DSDs who were run by Chavo started to question Tommy, which is where Janard actually stepped in to calm things down. He stepped in, spoke his piece, and it worked. He then turned to Tommy because they wouldn't have been in this mess if it weren't for Tommy, which is actually true. But something else which is also true, which Diamond mentioned earlier on, the CBI wouldn't have been where they are without Tommy either. And to get to where they want to get to, you are going to have to fight some wars and spill some blood. But Janard was also annoyed because all Tommy's done is talk to him like a child and send him on jobs like an errand boy.
You can't be trusted just yet. That's why you're getting errand boy jobs, because I don't trust you. We do have a problem. You don't like me. I know this much. So nah, you're going to be on a little errand boy job so I can keep you next to me. Tommy really doing it the right way, even though me personally, I would have Janard doing everything with me just to keep him right here so I could watch him. That'd be me.
And I'm not surprised Janard actually flipped. I do also think Diamond was looking on kind of proud of his baby brother, because even he warned Tommy that he wasn't going to lose what they built for no one. He was also impressed with how the coalition fell in line when Janard spoke. But the problem that Diamond has is Tommy definitely did help them get the CBI back on top. He's also the direct link to Shay. Diamond doesn't have that relationship built with Shay at this moment in time. That's something that Tommy worked on in season 2. And if that were to happen, if Diamond was to maybe create a relationship with Shay, if Diamond was to continue to make moves behind Tommy's back with the D-Max situation, we know where this relationship is heading. We know they've been teasing blood is thicker than water. It's heading for Tommy versus Diamond, which also probably plays right into Shanti's hands. Now, what have we learned in the world of power? Expect revenge, expect retaliation, and that's exactly what Chavo was worried about. Ortega and the Marquez cartel weren't just going to roll over. They came in and wiped out Chavo and the DSDs. And this is going to be a huge problem. It's going to cause discontent within their...
It's going to make the rest of the coalition scared, and they're going to bail on Tommy, or it might end up being Tommy versus all of Chicago. And this is where we might get Tariq coming in. I'm fucking with it. I'm fucking with it. Y'all tell me in the comments, man, if y'all keeping up with the show, what's your favorite part of today's episode? And if you're going to come back and watch the next one, again, this was another one of those good session recaps, breakdowns, power book for force. It's your boy Slave DiBiase, man. Y'all be easy. We out.